YouTube! Welcome to the Fantasy Football Perspective. I am Lucas and I am your host. Welcome back to the channel. Hey, I appreciate y'all giving me some love on my previous videos. Had my first video hit 1,000 views. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Got about 10 to 20 subscribers in the last couple weeks as well. So I really do appreciate you guys showing me a little love. It's a journey. I know there's way bigger YouTubers than me out there, but man, the grind is the fun part, and just seeing your channel build, seeing the audience grow, that's the fun part. Truly. I really enjoy making these videos, and I hope I help you win some money this year. But today I have a special video for you guys. I am going to dissect 2 drafts that I just completed over the course of the last 2 weeks. These 2 drafts are actually in the same league. Let me break down this league for you a little bit. This is our big money league. There's 24 people in this league. They do an AFC and an NFC. There's 12 teams in the AFC, 12 teams in the NFC, and with this league, you actually do 2 separate fantasy drafts. So I am in the NFC, so I drafted for myself, and someone for the AFC couldn't make it, so I was able to draft for them as well. And it doesn't really cause anything because you don't really play against each other in terms of regular season, but you do have the potential to match up in the Super Bowl. So it's kind of cool. It's like an NFL format. 6 teams from each side make it to the playoffs, and then you go through the playoffs, and then the championship round, you can play the champion from the AFC if you're in the NFC, and vice versa. So it's cool. A little bit more about this draft format. It's standard. It's just your standardized PPR draft. You start a QB, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, a kicker, and a defense. But they want you to draft. They have specific draft settings. So they want you to draft 2 QBs, 4 wide receivers, 4 running backs, 2 tight ends, 2 kickers, 2 defense. They do this just so everyone has the same start and no one's loading up on any certain position. So keep that in mind when I show you guys the draft board and we dig in. We're going to briefly go over ADP and if I believe these players are worth that pick where they're getting selected at the moment. Average draft positions, everything. Every player has a price, and every player is a good value at the right price. Don't overspend for players. That's the number one mistake people do. If you can get someone in the 5th round, don't spend a 3rd round on them. And I'll go over that with you guys. Players I really like at their price point. And yeah, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to go over 7 rounds of that. I have a TikTok now. At FF Perspective, making short videos over fantasy football, not as in depth as this Fantasy Football Perspective YouTube channel, but yeah, they kind of coincide with each other. And my last video actually discusses my first 5 picks in this latest fantasy football draft that I'm going to discuss today. I really like my first 5 picks, so stay tuned, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's get into this. So here's the draft board from the first draft. I know it looks a little funny with the 2 kickers, 2 defenses at the bottom, but remember, everyone has to draft 2 QBs, 4 running backs, 4 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, 2 kickers, 2 defenses, and the starting lineups: 1 QB, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, a flex position, a kicker, and a defense. So keep that in mind as we're going through this. I drafted out of the 8th spot here. I am Poly 15, and first round it came around to me, and everyone I liked that I would take in the first round's gone. If Najee was there, I probably would have taken him. That's kind of that cutoff point in the first round that I will want the positional advantage opposed to any players remaining. So I take the best tight end on the board, Travis Kelce. That gives me a clear edge at tight end each week. Yeah, that's usually the way I go. On the turn back around, Deandre Swift was sitting there, and I really like Deandre Swift's upside this year. I think he can catch, 50 to 100 balls, and that alone should put him in that running back 1 discussion. And if he starts getting positive touchdown regression, watch out. He legit has RB1 upside. If that offense improves like we think it does, they brought in more weapons, another year in the system. So watch out, Deandre Swift. very, very high upside this year. Then it circled all the way around, and Javonte Williams was sitting there. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not the biggest redraft Javonte Williams fan. But if he's sitting at the end of the third round as my RB2, and then I'm looking at the other RBs behind him, that's a smash hit all day. They're saying that the split's going to be somewhere between 60-40 and 70-30 between Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon. Sign me up for that all day. If that hits the 70-30 split, we saw in a small sample size last year what happens when Javonte gets the carries and the whole workload. Javonte Williams, again, sneaky high upside. I really like him in the third round. Not the second. Too risky for a second, but definitely in the third. Then it circled back around, and I really, really, really wanted Michael Pittman to fall to me. I got sniped by Reneker, Michael Pittman before, and I was stuck with Jaylen Waddle. So, that sounds bad, but something else about this league, since the league is so big, they start the playoffs in week 14. If you can see the players on this board, they have their bye weeks in the upper right-hand corner. There's a lot of teams that have byes on week 14. So players like Michael Pittman actually lowered in my draft selection because I don't want to make the playoffs and one of my best players be on a bye. So that was in the back of my mind. I'm glad that Reneker took Michael Pittman. I didn't really want my wide receiver one on a bye, but I'm going to be honest, if he was there, I think I would have raced to the board to put him up there. So I got Jaylen Waddle. I like Jaylen Waddle a lot. I think he fits Tua's mold better than Tyreek Hill does. I think that he likes catching those short passes out of the line of scrimmage. And I just don't think Tua has a great arm. I think Tyreek Hill's going to be a little bit wasted. Tyreek Hill's the best deep threat in football, and I just really don't think Tua has the arm strength to fully utilize Tyreek Hill. And Jaylen Waddle already has a year with him, so I don't think he's going to go anywhere. 80 to 120 catches for Jaylen Waddle again. That's my guess. And then it comes back around to me, and Patrick Mahomes is sitting there. I love taking QBs in the 5th round. I get the Mahomes, Kelsey stack, and ladies and gentlemen, that was a great start for me. I love those first 5 picks. And then it comes back around, and I sure up my wide receiver room. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Love it. I think he has tremendous upside this year. And then take a little chance on some upside. Michael Thomas. Love it as well. If Michael Thomas is just a fraction of what he used to be, he has wide receiver one upside. And then Ramondre Stevenson, Trey Lance, Treylon Burks, all sitting there, waiting for the taking. All great values at this point. I think I can use Trey Lance for some trade value later down the road for a team that doesn't have an elite QB. And yeah, I really, really liked this draft a lot. You can see how it ended up. I ended up dropping both my defenses and picking up the Colts. The Colts play Houston Texans week 1. That's a defense that I target every single week. Indianapolis Colts. And 2 kickers from teams I think are scoring a lot of points. So, comment below how you think this draft went. I really like how it went. I think I got 2 stud running backs, the best tight end, potentially the best QB stacked with that tight end, and 3 wide receivers that legit have wide receiver 1 upside. So as I said before this video, I think I drafted from the 5th spot on the other side. So I drafted for Cam right here, and I decided to try something cool. I wanted to go 0 RB and just to see how it went, and more like hero RB. So I went Jefferson Diggs. They were both sitting there in my face. I think both of those players legit have top 3 upside when it comes to wide receiver end of year rankings. And then I followed up with James Conner. James Conner is not a very efficient running back. He scores a lot of his fantasy points purely from touchdowns, but the offense is the same. So I think he's going to have the same opportunity to score touchdowns as he did last year. If he can get in the end zone, 12 to 15 times, watch out, he's in for another running back 1. And then he's kind of the anchor of the running back room for Cam here. And then it circles back around. I really wanted Waller, but I went ahead and took Kittle. That's the big tier break, in my opinion, from the tight ends. You got the top 5, Kittle, Waller, Pitts, Andrews, Kelsey, in reverse order there, in my opinion, and then everybody else. Then it circles back around again, and I got Jalen Hurts, a QB with legitimate top 5 upside this year. And keep on going down. I got Godwin, Dillon, and Mooney. Love those 3 or 4 picks. And then I went and shot a dart at Devin Singletary as his RB3. Look back at Devin Singletary's numbers at the end of last season. I know they brought in Cook to definitely take some pass catching role away from Devin Singletary. But towards the end of last season, Devin Singletary was a workhorse and was putting up great numbers. If he can duplicate that, watch out. Then I snagged Dawson Knox, which is looking tremendous today because the Buffalo Bills cut O.J. Howard. So Dawson Knox shores up that tight end room for Buffalo. You get a piece of a high-scoring offense. I love that. And then Kenneth Gainwell, Matt Ryan as some backup RB4 QB2. I like my team a little bit better than Cam's, but Cam's has that boomer bust potential when you're talking about Jefferson, Diggs, and Godwin as your 1, 2, and 3 wide receivers. Connor, touchdown upside. A.J. Dillon, big-time touchdown upside. And Singletary and Gainwell as your kind of your RB2s on their team, anchors that can have big weeks. So I really liked where I went with this team as well. Definitely more boom-bust potential on this side. Tell me below which draft you like better and where you think I could have went different in each. So, circling back to here. Now we're briefly going to discuss ADP and how my perspective on ADP. Every player can be acquired at the right price. What I mean by that is there's players that go too high in drafts and players that go too low in drafts, and if you get discounts on them, you should run up to the board and select that player if you get the appropriate discount. This is Underdog Fantasy's ADP updated as of yesterday. Round 1 usually goes Jonathan Taylor, McCaffrey, Jefferson, Kupp, Jamar Chase, Eckler, Derrick Henry, Stephon Diggs, Dalvin Cook, Adams, Harris, Kelsey. Without going too far in detail, I'm going to tell you the players that I would personally take in round 1 if it was me. I would take Taylor, McCaffrey, Jefferson, Chase, Henry, Harris, Kelsey. You might say, why are you leaving out Cooper Kupp? Cooper Kupp had one of the best seasons of all time. Well, they brought in target competition with Allen Robinson, and you just can't expect him to put those kind of numbers up again. There has to be some aggression into that. Like, for instance, if I bring up my draft board before, Cooper Kupp fell to pick 11 in one of our fantasy drafts. Yes, I'm smashing that. I'm just not going to take him at 4. So for the right price, yes, I just can't justify his situation when they brought in more competition. Allen Robinson's a stud. I just can't do it. There has to be some regression. Defenses are going to have to start queuing in on Cooper Kupp and making other people beat him. Jamar Chase, I like him this year. They're going to use him in the slot more. Eckler said himself at 6 that they're going to lower his workload and potentially take some goal line opportunities away. So I'm a little bit off the Eckler train. Henry at 7, sure, I would take that. I know he has the foot injury, but all signs point to him getting better. Diggs, I can't get myself to take Diggs at that high. I can't take myself to take Cook at that high. Devontae, I can't get myself to take him that high. Najee and Kelsey, I would definitely take them at the end of the first round. I think they both have number 1 upside at their respective positions. Round 2, Mixon, fine. CD, fine. Barkley would be a stretch for me at the beginning of round 2. He does have high upside, but he has been injured in the past, previous 2 years, and they haven't just been small injuries. Swift, love Swift in round 2. Debo, I don't like Trey Lance and the Debo combo this year. I just don't think they're a good fit together, personally. Aaron Jones, smash in round 2. Kamara, at this point, smash in round 2. One of the biggest discounts in fantasy football. Everything in the legal system seems to be getting pushed out to another year. Alvin Kamara, fine. I like him round 2. Javonte Williams, I'm not touching that in round 2. Too big of a split in round 2, in my opinion. Mark Andrews, heck yeah. Mike Evans, heck yeah. Tyreek, I'm avoiding Tyreek this year because I just don't think Tua has the arm strength to get on the ball. Fournette, end of round 2, beginning of round 3, sign me up all day. Workhorse, 8 to 9 catches a game the last 6 to 8 games last year. Sign me up for that. One of the biggest RB1 discounts. Nick Chubb, staying away from that. A.J. Brown, staying away. T. Higgins, sign me up. Round 3, T. Higgins all day. Michael Pittman, heck yeah. Keenan Allen, heck yeah. Mike Williams, avoid at this price tag. He had a heck of a beginning to last year, but they started reverting back to the old Mike Williams rule, which is just a field stretcher. And they kind of continue that the rest of the year. If they do that again and he's just a field stretcher, think his numbers are going to be more in line with the end of the year than the beginning of the year. Kyle Pitts, heck yeah, at this price, take him. I mean, he had 1,000 yards as a rookie tight end. Honestly, if he was a wide receiver, he'd be going top 10 wide receiver, and you get to put him in a tight end role. Kyle Pitts, round 3, the last, in my opinion, of the elite tight ends. Josh Allen, risky in the round 3, but I understand because he averages 24 to 25 points a game, positional advantage. DJ Moore, I want nothing to do with that. Cortland Sutton, I really want nothing to do with that, especially when I can get Judy at a round discount. James Conner, if you need a running back. Travis Etienne, one of the biggest risers in the draft of Underdog. Beginning of the year, he was round 6, so I was scooping him up as fast as possible. The end of round 3 is more appropriate. I think they're going to use the heck out of him. Jaylen Waddle, yes, sign me up. Zeke, round 4, yep, let's do it. A-Rob, let's do it. I love the wide receivers in this range. Terry McLaurin, Marquise Brown, Gabriel Davis. Breece Hall's a little sketchy because he doesn't even seem to be starting right now. So I'd probably avoid that. Jerry Jeudy, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, sign me up. Cam Akers, avoid at all cost. Rumor just came out yesterday they couldn't even run. No thank you. Deontay Johnson. He's a tricky one. I don't love Deontay as much as I usually do, and it's purely based on QB. But on the other hand, he pretty much had the corpse of Ben Roethlisberger throwing him the ball last year, and he was able to put up wide receiver 1 numbers. So you would think Kenny Pickett would be an upgrade no matter what, depending on Kenny Pickett or Mitchell Trubisky will be an upgrade to what Ben Roethlisberger was. So Deontay's kind of growing out me. If you can get him in the 5th round, opposed to the late 4th, I would smash that. Juju, I like Juju this year. He's going to an appropriate round. Gets a QB upgrade. We're really going to see what he's about. Waller, sign me up. Mahomes, sign me up. I love the round 5 QB selections. Cooks, I like Cooks. Kittle, if you need a tight end, he is the last opportunity to get a tier 2 tight end. Then I think there's a big drop after that. Bateman, Thomas, I would take chances on both of them in the 5th round. Dobbins, I don't really love Dobbins. I'm an Ohio State fan, by the way, but Lamar just eats so much of the rushing game, and Dobbins is a heck of a running back. I just don't think he gets the red zone opportunities that most running backs get. Metcalf, QB situation's horrible, but sometimes you can get him in the 6th round. If he drops to the 6th round, sign me up. Godwin's looking good. St. Brown, in my opinion, is the best round discount in fantasy football. Legit wide receiver 1 upside. Was averaging 20 to 25 points a game at the end of last year, and they're just using the heck out of him in preseason, and Hard Knocks is showing that he's becoming a leader of a team. Darnell Mooney, sure, wide receiver 1 on his own team, going to get a lot of looks. Montgomery seems to be discounted every year, but all roads are pointing to Montgomery leading that backfield again. If you need a wide or running back 2, and it's the 6th round, fine. I'm fine with that. Kyler, Jaylen, give me either of those. That's where the tier break is. Every other QB after that spot, I think you're fine waiting on. A.J. Dillon, Elijah Mitchell, Elijah Moore, Adam Thielen, Trey Lance. Sign me up for any of those guys. Dalton Schultz, kind of decreasing value in my head a little bit. I just read a stat today that he's never had a 100-yard game, and you're taking a tight end in the 6th round when you can wait 1 or 2 rounds and potentially get Goddard, who, is, in my opinion, a better tight end. Ayuk looking great in camp. Sign me up. I think his game fits Trey Lance's better. Lazard, I don't know what to think about Lazard. He does have the rapport built with Aaron Rodgers already, but all those rumors about Dobbs looking great, I think Dobbs steps up and is the wide receiver 1 in Green Bay. Drake London, I don't love taking rookie wide receivers this early, but if I was going to, Drake London would be my pick. Cooper, I want nothing to do with Cooper. I don't think Brissett's any good at all, so I think Cooper's value is going to get hurt. Josh Jacobs, I think he's going to be in a split. Joe Burrow, I like Joe Burrow as a QB, but I think he's a better real QB than a fantasy QB just because he doesn't have that much rushing upside. Hopkins, I can't reach for Hopkins coming off that suspension. Devontae Smith, fine, round 7 if you need another receiver. Russell Wilson, fine, round 7 if you need a QB. Pollard, I can't get myself to get a RB who's in a split. Tony can never stay healthy. Kirk potentially can get 7 to 8 catches a game, so sign me up for some round 7 Christian Kirk. Clyde, not touching that backfield. Hunter Renfrow, still going to get his. If you need a receiver, check that. And Chase Edmonds, definitely a steal at the end of the 7th round. So I know I just went through a lot right there. You might have to rewind and review that, but there's just players that I like at their ADP and players that I don't. Sorry for that. Sorry for being a little bit unorganized today. For whatever reason, Microsoft Excel is not working on my computer. I might have to re-download it, so we're going to have to look at this chart, so I apologize. My favorite targets out of each round, let's say you're drafting late in each round. I love Najee and Kelsey at the end of the 1st. That's great. If you get to the end of the 2nd and Mark Andrews is there or Aaron Jones, sign me up for that all day. If you're at the end of round 3 and you can get a Kyle Pitts or a Michael Pittman or a T. Higgins, let's do that. If you get to the end of round 4 and somehow ETN's there or Marquise Brown or Allen Robinson, let's do that. Round 5, take whatever remaining of the top 6 QBs remaining. Round 6, give me Ayuk, Elijah Moore, Elijah Mitchell. In round 7, I would take anywhere between Edmonds, Devontae Smith, whatever best wide receivers left. So hopefully that helps. Use this to your advantage if you're drafting at the end of the rounds. I think there are steals to be had at each round. And go on TikTok, follow my TikTok at FF Perspective. Our weekly show starts next week, ladies and gentlemen. Haven't came up with a creative name yet. We're going to talk about everything from Jim Stroker's Blazing 5 Picks of the Week, where he goes over and gives you 5 games to bet on. And he had 3 weeks last year where he went 5 on 5. So if you bet Jim's picks last year, those weeks you won some money. We're going to talk FanDuel with Andy and BJ. We dissect the FanDuel prices each week, give you the steals, and then those kind of correlate into some fantasy football players that I think are just going to excel the following week. So, as always, this show is going to be on Thursdays, about 9 or 10 o'clock. We'll be out there. Share the video, like the video, and we'll keep doing it each week. We enjoy doing it. It's a nice time to get together. And, yeah. If I said anything during this video that you like the video for me. Subscribe to the channel. Hey, let's try to hit 200 views again on this video. Been on a heck of a little streak. As always, thanks for tuning in. Peace.